Social entrepreneurs are known to invest in areas where not so many people are willing to channel their money in, all in efforts to make good business while achieving social good. I spoke to Roshan Paul, the CEO and co-founder of Amani Institute, on the role of social innovation in sustainable economies. Take a look. The topic of social entrepreneurship is really a very interesting one. Just help me understand, what defines a social entrepreneur?
Well, I think the main definition of a social entrepreneur is not that different from a regular entrepreneur or a business entrepreneur. The main distinction is the social entrepreneur sets out to solve a social problem compared to just trying to make a lot of profit or make a lot of money. They're trying to solve a problem that exists in society. But otherwise, a social entrepreneur is exactly like a business entrepreneur. They are creative, they're determined, they're persistent, they like to work for themselves. They are really, really relentless in solving whatever challenges that come across their way in order to build their organization. It's just that the purpose is slightly different with a social entrepreneur.
Talking about yourself, because you are in this space, tell us about your social innovation, which is Amani Institute. How did you start and how has the business gone?
Sure. So previously to Amani Institute, I was working for hundreds of social entrepreneurs around the world and supporting them in their missions. And in that process, I realized that one of the biggest challenges that they were facing to their growth was really in finding the right talent, the right type of people who will help them to grow their organizations that they can hire. So we felt that there wasn't a good way to train to build the skills you needed in your career as a social entrepreneur or to have a career in social impact. So Amani Institute was started to help to help individuals who wanted to have careers in the social sector or social impact to build the skills for that type of work. And we create really different and new ways of training people. So we don't have traditional lectures, we don't have exams, we don't have papers. Everything we do is very project oriented, very group oriented, like working. So we're really building the skills to work, not building the skills to study.
And how much was the initial investment, to say?
Yeah, so in terms of initial investment, it was relatively minor. My business partner and I, we put in a small amount of our personal funds into it, but we knew from the beginning that we had to create the right business model to make this work. And so from the beginning, we were focused on charging for our products, charging for our services. You know, even though we are an international organization, we don't have outside funding or anything. We have to generate all our revenues from our products. So we're very, very laser focused on creating the right type of products that people will pay for. So people have been coming in. We have our main program is like a master's degree, but it's not a master's, it's a certificate program. It's open to anyone in the world. So our students come from all around the world. About 35–40% are Kenyans and the rest come from other countries. And then the other thing that we do is we do a lot of consulting or professional development trainings for different organizations.
How do you sustain a business with this? You know, how in terms of, I believe for every business to operate, there is the margin that they need to stay afloat. How do you do that? Yeah,
well, like any business, we have a price for our products, and that builds in, you know, the staff costs, the venue costs, and everything, and a little bit of a margin, and we survive based on that. But we're a social, what's called a social business. So for us, making a huge profit is not necessary. It's just making enough to survive, and any profits are put back into the company. So as owners, we're not taking out the money, we're putting it back into the company, because our purpose is really to scale Amani Institute to impact more and more people rather than to get personally enriched.
I'll take you back to the investment. You mentioned a small seed capital. How much was it?
It was about $20,000. So about, and that was between my partner and me. So about 2 million Kenyan shillings. I would say.
Let's talk about the role of social entrepreneurship when it comes to growing economies. What do you think it is? Because you've been in this space for about 15 years now.
So I would say social enterprises can play two roles. One is that they they're providing employment, they're providing jobs, they're small businesses that are growing and working in the economy like every other business. But what I think the really important role that they play and the role that distinguishes them is that they're solving problems that exist, which enable other businesses and other types of things to happen So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
A social enterprise that's looking to provide healthcare in a slum, right? So it may not be by itself adding a lot to the economy, but by helping people to access health at affordable costs, what they're doing is making sure those people are going to work, they're not staying at home because they're sick or looking after their children who are sick, so their productivity increases, and therefore their wealth increases, and they're able to contribute to the economy.
What are the challenges that a social entrepreneur would face?
There are many. I think the main one that we face and many others face is, as running a social business, is when you're making decisions, do you prioritize the social impact or the financial impact, right? So for example, we could be running a program that we're charging 2 or 3 times more than we can and targeting the richest people in the country and in the world. But that wouldn't allow us to get the social impact.